Welcome to East Tennessee Pinball. We've got Matahari back in the shop again. Jane has cleaned this whole thing up with naphtha, and right now she's basically tracing all the inserts and the switch edges, everything with the black acrylic marker. You definitely don't want to use a Sharpie. If you use a Sharpie, and then because ultimately we're going to spray this with clear here in a second. Well, not in a second, but tomorrow. If you use a Sharpie marker, that black will bleed or bleed on the inserts. Never use a Sharpie on a pinball machine. Acrylic paint, it's water based. It's safer to paint on top of. So basically, the reason you put the black on is because when we put the hardtop on there, if it's off just a little bit, so if you see a little bit outside of the insert, you want it to be black, so you don't notice that it's not quite lined up perfectly. So around every one of these inserts, you just need to put a little bit of a black line just to mask the fact that it's not going to fit exactly perfectly. Here's the hardtop, by the way. Show you what it looks like. I can get it open with one hand.
Whoa, shaking the table.
Sorry. So you see all these inserts, they've got black around them. So if there's a little bit of black that it's off, it'll just blend in with the black around the insert, so you won't even notice it. But anyway, see, these things are beautiful, and they're pretty thick. I'm not going to take out the plastic yet. I want to keep it clean. But it's got an adhesive backer on there, so you just peel that back off there. We're gonna, so today, Jane's tracing around all these inserts. This will dry tonight, let it get good and dry. And tomorrow we'll clear coat it. And then they suggest at least 3 days. So this is gonna, today's Tuesday. We'll paint it tomorrow, Wednesday. We're gonna go Southern Fried Expo this weekend. So it'll be at least Monday before we get back to this. It'll be the earliest we put that hardtop on there, so it'll have plenty of time for the paint to dry. The reason you want the paint to really dry is that drying process, all the volatiles are coming up. If you put it down too soon, those volatiles will come up and you'll get gas bubbles and it'll bubble up. You definitely don't want that. So this is kind of the process. A little tedious, a little time consuming, but the end result is a really good show. So keep watching and you'll see how it turns out. Okay, so Jane, at this point, Jane has finished putting the black outlines around all the inserts, and now she's putting down some polyurethane on all the areas where you're going to have bare wood, just because it was all sanded down and needs to be polyurethane so it looks nice and kind of a little, it almost like stains it, makes it look shiny, kind of evens it out. So then she'll put several coats of this one, and once this is dried up, it'll have to be sanded down 220 grit, and then we'll finally spray paint it. So this is the first coat of the polyurethane. You already see how much better it looks with this first coat going on there. Kind of re-wets the wood up and kind of evens it out. That line there, the edge of my finger, that's to the right of there. That's basically where the decal goes, and to the left is going to be the bare wood. So that's where I sanded the decal back to the right of that line. Anyway, yeah, she got this little hole sanded pretty well. Went ahead and took the saucer mechanism out of there just so I don't get paint all over it, get it all gummed up. Anyway, that's enough for today. We'll add some more on tomorrow. Well, it's been about a week for me since I've been back at this Matahari, but in the meantime, I've put about, I don't know, 6 or 7 coats of polyurethane on the surface of it, and I just sanded it to about 240 grit just to kind of give it a little, just to etch it a little bit, so that I'm getting ready to spray paint it. Some clear Krylon Color Max satin. To give it a little bit something for the paint to adhere to. So I sanded it, then I cleaned it one more time, with some lighter fluid, naphtha if you like. And then I also got a tack cloth and cleaned it with a tack cloth. And I'll probably tack it one more time before I paint it. It makes this paint up a little bit more. And I mean, I'm not an expert spray painter by any means, but one thing I have found is start light. Just a spray, just a dusting. Come back and dust it a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and just keep going with slightly heavier and heavier coats. And really, the only thing that really matters about spraying is the inserts and these borders and the actual clear area that you're going to see where the ball is going to be running. So this entire perimeter here where the ball is going to run, in any area where you might actually see the wood, you know, you're probably not going to see much because the skirt covers that, but there might sneak a peek underneath there under the skirt every now and then. You might see a little bit of wood there. You shouldn't, but there might be. Again, you might see a little bit of wood right here below the bottom skirt and where the art ends. You shouldn't, but you might. So all that needs to be done. So those are just really the perimeter of the game. The pop bumpers. Oh, and the saucer needs to be done real well. So I'm going to tack it one more time. I'm going to start spraying it. So I tacked it got the tack cloth one more time. And notice you probably saw this. I put some tin foil around the switches. I didn't take them off. I just covered them. Put some bulbs in the sockets, some old bulbs, just so that we can get paint down in those. And I am ready for my first coat.